and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. Today, we're coming to you from the village of Signal Hill at the charming Bishop's Villa. From here, we'll give you the inside scoop on some of the most recent events taking place in Tobago. We'll also take you on a tour of this beautiful property in the next half hour. So stay with us for all the details. I'm Davia Chambers, and Let's Talk Tobago starts now. It is one of the most anticipated annual events in Tobago. The Tobago Heritage Festival 2022 is returning, and we'll tell you what's on this year's calendar. Tobago recently celebrated International Midwives Day 2022, honoring the island's midwives for their dedication. The Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TADCO, held a recent consultation with farmers and agro-processors. We've got the highlights. And later, the drama production Blood Money hits the stage. All these stories and more are up next when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us.
Come, there we go to Tobago, that paradise. Mamba, Robinson Crusoe, and it is said it's the land of tomorrow. Princess Margaret say, come to Tobago for holiday. Now the whole world say, come to Tobago for holiday.
In our top story this week, the Tobago Heritage Festival is set to return after going virtual for the past 2 years. In this story, we sit down with the Chief Executive Officer of Tobago Festivals Commission Limited to get all the details. And if you haven't booked your ticket to Tobago as yet to be a part of the festival, here are a few reasons why you should. Have a look. That's a snippet of the Pembroke Salaka Feast, and this year patrons are getting the chance to fully immerse themselves in the Tobago Heritage Festival from July 22nd to August 1st. The theme is Reflect, Rebirth, Rejoice, reigniting the flames of our legacy.
When you look at the reflecting, looking back on heritage where it was, where it has come, we've been able to go through COVID. The rebirth has to do with looking at how we can re-engineer the festival to even make it even more attractive. And then, of course, the rejoice is that we're still here and we can still certainly do that.
This year's festivities include Plymouth Juve, Miss Tobago Heritage Personality, Lakoto Folktales and Superstition, Charlottesville Natural Treasures Day, Pembroke Salaka Feast, Heritage Calypso Monarch, Mariah Old Time Wedding, Emancipation Day celebrations, and the North Side Combined Talent Competition.
Castara, Lansumi, Palatave, and Bloody Bay come together, and they are doing a thing called North Side Passion. It's going to be on Castara Bay. That combined area is really about the strength of those communities working together. It's a talent competition. They actually have like a preliminary round, 2 preliminary rounds, and then they take the best of all, and they have this grand final. So it's going to be a talent competition, and there will be a lot of other guest artists that would also speak to the heritage theme and so on.
This year, a heritage micro market will also be featured.
There will be a heritage micro market in the FCB car park area all week, right? Which will showcase a number of the agencies on the island and a number of organizations and a number of vendors and creatives, right, in their own rights, who will all use that space to sell and to showcase items during that week.
For all details, you can visit the social media pages of Tobago Festivals. The Tobago House of Assembly is in the midst of pre-budget preparations. Later this month, the THA will present its fiscal request at the Assembly Legislature for fiscal 2023 before it's sent to central government. Chief Secretary, the Honorable Fali Augustine, is engaging stakeholders through a series of televised pre-budget consultations to take a closer look at key sectors of the economy. Here's this story.
Budget Day in Tobago is approaching. The Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy is pooling key information to allow the THA to detail a comprehensive budget request. That budget is to be presented and debated in the House later this month.
Over the past 3 weeks, we have been meeting with several subgroups to ascertain the needs of each sector within the Tobago economy. We have decided that we will do a series of virtual consultations to allow for greater inclusivity and participation.
The premiere episode of the Make It Make Sense pre-budget consultation program focused on the impact of the budget on women. It explored means to empower women and girls amidst modern economic challenges. Panelist and bank manager Tanil Harilal implores women to seek more innovative ways to become more marketable and self-sufficient.
While it is an important understanding to budget, it is also a good economic empowerment for women to have better choices. So some of the things that we can probably do and been thinking of is, learn a skill. So while you have the CPEP, you also have other things that you could trade. There was a nice bartering environment we had a few years back, understanding that, okay, we're not going to stay here for the CPEP, but we are doing other things to enhance and develop our living situation.
The second episode focused on the development of the creative sector, also known as the orange economy.
There is an increasing view among Caribbean governments and regional agencies that the creative industries can be an economic, or an engine rather, for economic growth and a mechanism for diversifying economies and improving global competitiveness. On account of this, there is a greater need to understand this trajectory of the creative.
Cultural icon Annette Alfred shares her take on the importance of the development of the creative sector and of the preservation of culture through education.
There was this interaction between schools, or education I should say, and the culture. That seems to be totally absent now. I am not seeing it. So my little grandchildren are suffering from the absence of that kind of training. I could see talent in especially one of them, but where is the opportunity for him? Why doesn't our curriculum respond to the call for us to learn what is ours so that we can make some money out of it?
The Make It Make Sense, a pre-budget consultation series, marries a mix of expert and layman perspectives on possible development with an interactive forum via social media platforms. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
Midwives play a significant role in heralding the new generation, caring for pregnant women and their newborns, and they were recognized for their work on International Midwives Day. We hear more from Omadara Mills.
Every new birth that you are able to safely deliver to us is a win for our country as a whole, for the society as a whole. You basically have in your hands the ability to deliver our greatest potentials in every single newborn baby.
One of the indicators we look at is the health of mothers and the health of babies. It is actually one of the few numbers that we look at internationally to determine how healthy a society is. And you play the most critical roles as it relates to the health of both mommy, in possibly the moment when she is most afraid, where she is most nervous, where she is probably most at risk. You play that absolutely critical role.
Those were some words of appreciation extended to midwives of the Tobago Regional Health Authority at this year's International Midwives Day celebrations in Tobago. On an annual basis, they play a part in the delivery of hundreds of babies on the island. For many mothers, midwives continue to support them even after leaving the hospital.
The midwives at the Scarborough General Hospital, they took care of me physically, mentally, and spiritually. They took their time to stay by my bedside many nights when I couldn't sleep. When I left the hospital after being a patient there for a month and maybe about 5 days, it was not just seeing them and say goodbye. My son, he will be 4 years old. And today, I could stand here safely and say, the nurses and the midwives at the Scarborough General Hospital has continuously been my roots.
Currently, there are 31 midwives on rotation at the Scarborough General Hospital's maternity department. The midwives were congratulated for the work they continue to do in spite of the threat of COVID-19.
The midwives have done an exceptional job during this past 2 years, having to deal with both COVID-infected mothers and non-COVID mothers. This is something that there was a bit of reluctance in the beginning, but I'm happy to say there are no issues, significant issues, with our management.
This year, International Midwives Day was observed under the theme 100 Years of Progress. The Tobago-based celebrations were done at the Scarborough General Hospital. Midwives are an imperative part of our healthcare system since they preserve the lives of our present and future generations. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
We have to take a break, but do not go anywhere. Let's Talk Tobago will be right back. Stay with us. Bishop's Villa is spacious. It's got 3 large bedrooms and comfortably sleeps 10 guests. There's also a full kitchen, living room, conversational space and family room. Its beautiful modern decor and wraparound exotic garden are only matched by an exquisite view. You can also sit on the oversized balcony to enjoy the ocean breeze, which seems to create calm, peaceful moments to connect with your inner self. Welcome back to Let's Talk Tobago. Now, the Telephone Workers Credit Union recently held its 72nd Annual General Meeting update in Tobago. Chief Secretary Honorable Fali Augustine believes the meeting provides a bigger opportunity for the island. We have more details in this next story. Have a look. The Telephone Workers Credit Union in Tobago recently held its update meeting of the 72nd AGM for the year 2021. Here, audited accounts and reports were presented. The meeting was hosted for members in Tobago who could not attend the AGM in Trinidad in May.
We will share with you highlights of the meeting that was held in Port of Spain. The delay in hosting the meeting, which is normally held in March, was caused due to COVID-19 related challenges among the auditing team.
I am particularly pleased with the effort that I am seeing here on the part of TWCU for the single most reason that any of my colleagues in Trinidad will tell you when I sit at a meeting and any related matter comes up at the national level, my representation and concern is always the interest of ensuring that Tobago is able to derive mutual benefit from the Cooperative Credit Union League of Trinidad and Tobago.
Chief Secretary Honorable Fali Augustine sees the update meeting as an opportunity for a Tobago perspective. This, he says, is vital in any national movement.
And given that the Tobago economy is so service-oriented, it means that really and truly the Tobago economy was not fully reopened until about 3 months ago. And so we are behind many of our competitors in the region. And I had cause recently to remind the Bankers Association of this uniqueness of our economic space. And I'm happy that TWCU understands such uniqueness and is insistent on coming and speaking with its membership.
Honorable Augustine says he has a strong admiration for the country's credit union movement. He says it's a facility that places people before profit. The Chief Secretary says credit unions have a role to play in the development of small and micro enterprises.
If we did not have the credit union movement in the country, what we would have essentially would only be big banks dominating the space. And I shudder to think what that would mean for all of us. And while I have nothing personal against the big banks, I do use their services. I understand the absolute need, the necessity for credit unions in this space to create that sort of community-oriented banking.
The TWCU 72nd AGM Tobago Update meeting was hosted at the Mount Irving Bay Resort. The Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TADCO, continues to create an open and collaborative relationship with its stakeholders, particularly of farmers and agro-processors. In this story, Omadara Mills brings us highlights of the company's inaugural consultations, where participants learned about the various opportunities available to them. Here's more.
Shanice Charles and Shanae Winchester are co-founders of the company Dear Diet Enterprises. They've got a passion for adding value to local produce like dasheen and cassava. Over the years, they've manufactured products like seriously grounded dasheen cereal and cassava flour. In an effort to grow their business, Shanice attended the Tobago Agribusiness Development Company, TADCO's first official consultation with farmers and agro-processors. Ms. Charles and other participants learned about issues such as farmland development and agricultural incentives. She also got to know about TADCO's criteria for partnering with farmers and agro-processors. Shanice was especially excited about one of TADCO's future projects, a market for agro-processors to showcase and sell their products.
Today was really informative, especially the agro-processor incentive that they are intending to start or in the process of starting. That stood out majority for us because we are agro-processors, and we, of course, will always look for incentive that could help the business. I think the consultation that TADCO put on today between the farmers and agro-processors was very important because it helps form a form of community between the farmers, the agro-processors, distributors. It helps create a cycle and a circle amongst us. Yeah.
Just over 90 stakeholders in the agribusiness sector attended the consultation. Small livestock farmer Rudolph Hippolyte shares what stood out for him during the presentations.
I think taking it and carrying it to the secondary stage where the life of the product would be lengthened, I think that is a very interesting development. And I like how they talk about identifying some products like the dasheen, the cassava, and beetroot in particular.
The consultation was a joint effort between the Division of Food Security, Natural Resources, the Environment and Sustainable Development and TADCO.
This will be the one of many. What will come out of this is that we're going to have the data as to who is producing what. We're going to, because there's a registration, we're going to reach out to them individually and have a further conversation with them if they need funding, what they're doing, have some inspections on their farm, because Tobago's biggest issue is consistency, and we have to fix that. But we also have to engage persons in terms of what they are doing in terms of making it better.
The consultation also featured a question and answer session that helped address any concerns from the participants. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Isaiah Thomas became an instant hero at the Special Olympics USA Games. He starred with the bocce ball to earn this country 2 medals. His achievement is being celebrated, while Isaiah also has some special people to thank. Here are the highlights of his return.
A welcome deserving of a king. This is how Isaiah Thomas was greeted following his participation at the U.S. Special Olympics USA Games earlier this month. He returned to Tobago with silver and bronze medals earned in his singles bocce competition. Thomas is proud of representing his country and expressed special thank yous to a few people.
I'm proud to bring back a silver and a bronze for this great country. Everyone, I would like to thank my mother and my grandmother and my grandfather for supporting me my whole life, and my sister. my teachers, my classmates. I would thank the principal for teaching me for so many years. And I'm just proud for everything all have done for me.
Buchi isn't just for special athletes, but is one of the special Olympic disciplines that provide opportunities for people with special needs. They get to enjoy social contact and gain self-confidence, while it also aids their physical development. Isaiah's coach says the athlete's success is a testimony to his hard work and determination. He's shown grit and determination since learning to play Buchi.
For the past few months here, we have been training both in Tobago and Trinidad to prepare for this national game here, America's game here. And I know he was going to be successful because he's a very talented Buchi player, always devoted to coming to practice, never complain. And I'm proud of him. We are all proud of you. And to all the people who give us support during this time, I want to say thank you.
Isaiah's achievement is also a source of pleasure for Assistant Secretary in the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Orlando Kerr. The Assistant Secretary says despite its small size, Tobago is filled with enormous talent. He says it's important to recognize Isaiah for his accomplishments.
Today is indeed a very special day. And as Tobagonians, you know, we have to celebrate this. In the context that when you look at the island of Tobago, which is about 60,000 persons, and when you look at our athletes going out there and competing internationally with some of those huge countries that we are just simply a dot, it tells you about the kind of talent that we have here and the kind of commitment that we have and the kind of coaches that we have. So I want you all to put your hand together again for Isaiah.
The ceremony was held at the International Departure Lounge at the ANI International Airport. I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
It was an evening of laughter and reflection at the Guild House for Tobago Drama Guild's Blood Money production. If you missed it, we'll give you a sneak peek right after this break when Let's Talk Tobago returns. Stay with us. The private pool is where guests spend their evenings and late nights. But if you want to explore Tobago, Bishop's Villa is centrally located. It's just 5 minutes from the capital, Scarborough, and 10 minutes to the bustling Southwest and the A&R Robinson International Airport in Crown Point, which means it's a great option for family vacations. The Tobago Drama Guild is making the best of the relaxation of COVID health restrictions. The Guild took to the stage recently for its latest theatre presentation, Blood Money. Ryan McCool tells us more in our next story.
It ain't how most simple to hit. We pay to kill. Randy, kill my dreams.
You really don't know.
It's a Caribbean story written by playwright Cheryl Birchwood Wheeler Tabiti, which challenges the duplicity of differing social classes. A tale of one young man who falls into the trap of immoral acts in hopes of attaining a better quality of life.
You know, you get into the whole bit of justifying when you're doing the wrong things to get what you want. So he was into stealing, he was a bandit. But then he found a way to justify it. He was blaming the 1%. Okay, they have all the privileges. What about us, the black people who get in trouble for just 5 ganja plants and all of that? But they are the ones controlling it.
The play was presented at the Guild House in Lowlands. It enjoyed a packed audience which has been yearning for the re-emergence of Tobago theatre.
We were able for this play to fill the hall 4 nights in a row, and that was amazing. As well as we got a shot in the arm from Bitter Cassava that came before. So Bitter Cassava sort of opened the appetite for more.
The Blood Money screenplay has also been receiving rave reviews to the delight of the Tobago Drama Guild as well as patrons.
It's the second time I've seen it. It improved on the second rendition. Performances were fantastic. Young and old performers, experienced performers, newer performers, all performed well. The story was very involved.
I thought the show was
quite remarkable. I wasn't sure what to expect. It exceeded my expectations.
It was beautiful, and you know what I love most? The young people. My God, you all have done well with them. The show, the storyline, everything, very good.
I love this show, but I wanted to join in this show, and I love it, and I really wanted to join in, and I really like this show, and I would love to see it 100 more times.
The Blood Money play will return to the Gill House after a 2-week break. The 3-day encore presentation is specially for schools, but you'll also get another chance to see the play during these viewings once space permits. From there, the Tobago Drama Guild will take the play overseas to the Canadian Consul General's office in Toronto. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
Bees have an important role that goes way beyond honey production. These little insects are so much more than the threat of a sting that they are recognized across the globe, including Tobago, as you'll see in our final story. Have a look.
Bees have created enough buzz to get their own day on the world's calendar. World Bees Day is celebrated annually on May 20th. But if you're wondering why these little insects have a day, here's the reason. World Bees Day highlights the essential role of bees and other pollinators play in keeping the world healthy. It's an opportunity for governments, organizations, civil society, and concerned citizens everywhere to promote actions that will protect pollinators and help them thrive.
We join with the rest of the world in celebrating World Bee Day because these tiny insects are one of the main insects that gives back to us as humans, namely a various wide range of products: honey, bee pollen, propolis, royal jelly, and various types of therapy. Also pollination, which you all know. Some people may say between 60 to 90% of our food are contributed by bee pollination, be it stainless bees or honeybees.
Honeybees produce honey, which is loved worldwide for its sweetness and depth of flavor. It is commonly used in many foods and recipes. Honey is also very popular in a range of other products.
I partner with the beekeepers, with the Apiculture Society and other beekeepers to present to you this lovely display, and other stakeholders who do value-added products like soaps, creams, body butters, candles.
The island's beekeeping industry is growing, and it's not an easy job, but there are many benefits associated with beekeeping, which is why Davlon Brathwaite continues rearing his bees. He even shares his knowledge about the health benefits of honey.
We produce mainly honey and supply supermarkets on the island. Management of the hives, making sure they are well maintained in terms of the queen satisfied, have a good quality queen, splitting of hives. That's a process whereby we expand, so you can start off from one and end up to as much as you want. Honey is a natural alternative. Bees are beneficial for pollination. Most of the fruits and vegetables that we enjoy, bees have something to do with it. Also, it is said that bee stings are beneficial for persons who may have arthritis.
The theme of this year's World Bee Day events was Be Engaged, celebrating the diversity of bees and beekeeping systems. I'm Crystal George for Let's Talk Tobago.
So we have come to the end of yet another edition of Let's Talk Tobago, and as always, we thank you for watching. Please email us with your comments or queries about the program, and be sure to visit our website, like our Office of the Chief Secretary Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more information on Bishop's Villa, you can contact the manager at 416-450-2484 via WhatsApp, or email them at bishopsvilla@gmail.com. From our house to yours, I'm Davia Chambers, along with the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, wishing you a safe and fantastic week. We leave you with a montage of Bishop's Villa. Do enjoy.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It is a beautiful Tuesday. It is not Monday. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. Tuesday the 21st, June 2022. I know some of you are a little bit off track because of that holiday yesterday. Viewers, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, good morning, good morning to those of you viewing us here on in Tobago, those of you in Trinidad, those of you in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live. Good morning, Julian Skeet, wherever you are today and this week. We trust that you are having a great morning. We are certainly missing you here in studio. So good morning, good morning. You know, viewers, we've had a really long weekend in Trinidad and Tobago, and you know, this morning on my way here I noticed a lot of persons trying to get back. I noticed the port in Scarborough was loaded. I mean, vehicles driving onto the boat, and there were scores of persons still on the outside, seemingly trying to get tickets to get onto the ferry. So, you know, like I said, a busy weekend in Tobago this weekend. Some of you turned it into a fun time, a really great experience, but now you're trying to get back. So, you know, I really hope that you make it safely. We also saw a lot of flights being grounded or delayed throughout Tobago, Trinidad, and even JFK. A lot of flights were delayed. I'm not sure what's happening yet. All of the information is not at hand, but certainly a lot of persons who were trying to get home from JFK were stranded, flights were delayed maybe by a day or two in some cases, and some persons trying to get from Trinidad to JFK, flights delayed as well, and even from between Trinidad and Tobago. So we get some more information on that as time goes on. Before we get into our program and, you know, to let you know what's happening with our birthdays, etc., just to share with you what's been happening with our news in 90 seconds. Budget day on Thursday. Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Fali Augustine, is expected to read his first budget statement on Thursday since being elected into office. The theme for the budget is Greatest Little Island on the Planet. It will include the presentation of a new economic development plan. The budget will also be centered on green policies for Tobago's sustainable development. According to the THA Act 40 of 1996, the THA must present a budget by the end of June annually. The statement is presented to the central government, who then decides how much the THA should be allocated in the next fiscal year. Unions call for Rowley's resignation. Trade unions across the country were unified in the call for the removal of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley from office. The unions passed a motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister during their Labour Day march. They said under the current PNM-led administration, only a selected few benefited, and Dr. Rowley failed to deliver to the majority. The unions are also unsatisfied with the recent 4% offer from the CPO towards wage increases for the period 2014 to 2022. They proposed to continue protest action until they are offered what they consider a fair wage increase. And finally, in our news in 90 seconds, price of rice to increase. The price of rice is set to increase. Trinidad Parboil Limited advised supermarkets that the price of rainbow rice and old Mac rice is set to increase by 5%. Rising costs of freight shipping and increases of fuel sparked that price hike. The company says it is unable to absorb any more price increases and must now transfer that cost to consumers. Globally, the price of rice is increasing and it is also becoming more scarce. Trinidad and Tobago could soon face a rice shortage if the global situation worsens. And that's just about it for our news in 90 seconds. All right, so just some of what's been happening in and around Tobago and Trinidad with regards, the top stories. So just to let you know what's coming up on the program this morning. In fact, before we get into that, let's go to some birthdays. I think we need to get into some birthdays. All right, we've got some birthdays coming up. So this lovely lady here, June James Abraham, celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday, my darling, going out to you. This is Zainara's mommy. So for those of you who know Zainara Llewellyn, this is Zainara's mommy. I tell you, she is something and a half. Okay, something and a half. All right, so love going out to you. Happy birthday going out to you. And June and her husband Dexter are celebrating their anniversary today. 19 years, I understand. 19 years and counting. So happy anniversary going out to you guys. Lots of love. So I guess you'll call me later. Yeah, definitely. And we have Jillian John celebrating her birthday as well today. Jillian hails originally from Lowlands, Tobago. Jillian, happy birthday going out to you. And Jimmy Sylvester, one of our avid viewers to the Tobago Updates morning show. And love going out to you, Jimmy, particularly from the Tobago Updates family, but particularly from Julian Skeet. So love going out to you, Jimmy. Trust that you have a really great one today. All right, so that's what's happening, in terms of birthdays around the island. And just to let you know what's coming up on the program now, during the News in 90 Seconds, we made mention of the union's call for Rowley's resignation. So on the program this morning, Michael Anistet, General Secretary of the National Trade Unions Center, is going to be on the program with us as we focus on Labor Day activities and the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Candice, we go over to Candice thereafter, who's going to be chatting with Anola De Freitas, who's the founder of Anthea's Treasure Trove, and they're going to be chatting about DIY soaps and scrubs. DIY soaps and scrubs. So they're going to be chatting with us on that, and then we're going to pull things back with Lois Leslie. We're going to put things back with Lois Leslie, who is the program manager of Indigenous Creative Arts. All right, and we're going to be talking about GBV community outreach. So that's what's coming up on our program today. We saw as well over the weekend where the Chief Secretary, Fali Augustine, had episode 4 of his pre-budget consultations or conversations. And if you could choke, you could look, and this was with the agricultural sector throughout Tobago. So, he started things off with the women, housewives, looking at food prices and how persons can offset some of the costs, the rising costs of food prices. And episode 4, if you could choke, you could look. In other words, if you could plant it, you could afford to look for something. If you could choke it in the ground, you could afford to look because you expect harvest, you expect to be able to reap something. So we saw that over the weekend as well. We saw jazz, we saw Utopia weekend this weekend. And if you live in the East, you know for sure the roads were busy on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Saturday afternoon? Yes, Saturday afternoon. The roads were busy. All right. I mean, you saw vehicles heading east for this Utopia experience, this East Utopia experience. And then we saw the Buku Heritage Park come alive the following day with another Utopia day. So, it was really something, and you saw a lot of persons coming from Trinidad and, around the Caribbean just to be a part of it, almost as though because we were locked down for those 2 years, they said that, hey, this ain't missing me. So they were here in their numbers, and really and truly it was a really great weekend. From all looks, it seemed to have been accident-free, incident-free, as far as we are aware. At this point, we stand to be corrected, but it seems to have been incident-free. So lots more coming up on the program. I want to encourage you this morning, viewers, wherever you are viewing us on the live, viewing us on Smash Radio, viewing us on Street 919, viewing us on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you are, or on your televisions, Gael, wherever you're viewing us, that you share the live, share the live, share the live.
Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning. This world is getting so cold. I wanna keep running like a soldier. Somebody must have touched my soul, 'cause there ain't no stopping till it's over. I wanna get up out my chair, 'cause everybody's getting so lazy. Don't want nobody touch my hair, 'cause a lot of sisters acting too crazy, and I'm not tough like this.
For Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Pre-qualification notice deadline 30th June 2022. The Tobago Regional Health Authority (TRHA) is updating its current list of pre-qualified contractors, suppliers, consultancy firms and sole traders to ensure compliance with the mandate of the procurement regulations of Trinidad and Tobago. All interested contractors and suppliers desirous of entering into business arrangements with the TRHA are invited to engage in the pre-qualification of suppliers registration process. For more information, visit the following link: trha.page.link/tenders.
Happy Father's Day. Looking for that gift Dad would really love? Well, this one's for you. Craftsman's Corner is having a massive tool sale and expo. Friday 10th and Saturday 11th June. Discounts, giveaways, tool demos, and lots more. Just build Craftsman's Corner.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Looking for plants for your garden or even a thoughtful gift for a friend? We at Eden Nurseries are waiting to welcome you with our affordable prices and variety of indoor and outdoor plants, flowers, palms, soil blends, pots, landscaping services, maintenance, irrigation services, and water features. Visit our garden shop and nursery Monday to Friday 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturdays 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. located at the back of Orange Hill Gas Station, Shore Park, Tobago. Or call us 639-0776 and let us help you bring your garden to life.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
and creamy, you find it right here. Makes you smile, relax a while, it's fun and good cheer. Ooh, enjoy every scoop. Ooh, every taste will get you hooked. We have flavors that you love, a combination special. Come along, enjoy our treats. This is Uncle Pete's.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Good morning, good morning, put a smile on your put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, and that's a shot of Lower Scarborough. In fact, the port area just opposite the Port Mall, where we are live, coming to you live from on the 3rd floor. All right, so welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are chatting this morning with my good friend Lois Leslie, who is the program manager of Indigenous Creative Arts Network. And this morning our focus is on GBV community outreach. She'll tell us a little bit more about it. Lois, good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, Ria, and thank you so much, and good morning to Tobago and all viewers and listeners.
You know, it's always good to have you on the program. You know, wherever I am, I love to interview you.
And you know, the pleasure is mutual.
Oh my gosh,
and the love
yes.
is always there.
Definitely. Now, Lois, tell us, give us an idea of what it is we're talking about. We're saying here, together we can stop GBV, or gender-based violence. This is a community outreach. Give us the genesis of this outreach program.
Okay. So this program is taking place under the umbrella of the European Union, United Nations initiative with respect to placing spotlight in areas where attention is needed. And so the Spotlight TT program focuses on gender-based violence. It focuses on family violence. In Trinidad and Tobago, we do have a Spotlight TT initiative, and that the goal is to actually eliminate family violence by 2030. Now, we might say that's a tall order.
By 2030. 2030, right.
Very ambitious, right?
Yeah.
Because it has been identified that GBV and family violence is doing a lot of damage to societies, to families, to communities. And therefore, over the past 8 months, the UNFPA in Trinidad has been spearheading the Spotlight TT program. There are several implementing partners, for example, the UWI, NATUC, FPA. They've also been spearheading their own projects in their areas in an effort to mitigate against gender-based violence and family violence. I am connected to the Indigenous Arts Creative Network, and that organization is responsible for bringing visibility to the work that's been happening with respect to GBV.
Let me ask you, let me just interject here. Would you say that COVID-19, that period that persons were at home, on quarantine, on just being locked down, did it cause an increase? And I'm hearing from reports from other sources here that there was somewhat of an increase in gender-based violence and family violence, because of the close proximity of partners and parents and family members.
Absolutely rare, and the recorded reports with respect to family violence rose by 246% between 2018 and 2019.
Wow.
Between 2019 and 2020, again, there's evidence of another surge in family violence. And so COVID-19, those frustrations, they really have done a number with respect to homes, and these are some of the issues that we're bringing to light and trying to provide support for, we don't want to use the term victims, but we want to say survivors, because we feel that with that tripartite collaboration, state, NGOs, and communities, we are able to ensure we have survivors rather than victims.
All right, and we've also seen within Trinidad and Tobago, the number of stories within the last few months, let's say from January till now, the number of women who have been murdered at the hands of their partners, who would have made reports to the police, who would have been laughed at, who would have made report after report after report, because at the end of the day you're hearing, oh, she made several reports to the police and they did nothing, nothing ever happened, nothing came of it. You know, so we're seeing the increase even in Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you raise a very important point, because even our protective services, there's a level of sensitivity that is still required, right? So we have to provide safe spaces so that victims can come forward. And we have to be responsive. And the shaming, that has to stop.
Is it a matter of training? And this goes beyond the courteous thing to do, you know, dealing with one person to another. But is it a matter of training for law enforcement? We also saw the community police, you know, a rise in community police. Then it was dormant for a while. Then we're seeing a bit of an increase, you know, over a period of time. But in terms of a person comes to you to make a report, my spouse, my partner, this person is threatening my life, you know, 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. What do you do? How do you respond? How should you respond?
And the training is essential.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we talk about that innate sense of being sensitive to someone who is in distress. But the issues are so complex at times. And so the training for our officers who support these persons in distress, that is really important. And so again, as we shed light on this situation, as we highlight the fact that it has, the situation has aggravated, and COVID, like I said, has really done a number. It's important for all agencies to strengthen their capacity to be able to manage. And, you know, we understand that at times the perpetrators, they themselves are broken people. They have challenges. But what do we do? And sometimes there are various types of interventions that can bring wonderful results. But sometimes we just have to let the law, the rule of law, take effect. You know, so it is not a simple formula, but certainly training and information and sharing knowledge and providing information to victims with respect to where they can find support in more ways than one. That is what is key at this point in time.
All right, so tell us about what's happening with regards to this initiative on Friday.
Okay, so within the Spotlight TT program, community outreach is an important part of what ICANN is doing. We've established and we've staged community outreach programs in 3 focus communities that have been identified in Trinidad and Tobago. Tobago is one of those. On Sunday, we did one at Castara, and on Friday we're doing the second one for Tobago at Scarborough. What is going to happen is that it's an attempt to provide information, because one of the things that kind of startled too as we moved around the country is that many people do not know where to get help. So one of the things that we'll be doing is just providing general information, connecting with people. All right, there's a catalog of services, support services for persons experiencing GBV. There are also emergency cards with information in terms of you're in distress. Who do I call?
Right.
That information is there. So it's bringing information close to persons, to communities. And the thing is, you know, we're from the village. So it's about us taking care of each other. It's about us not closing eyes to what's happening next door.
Because we did that for a pretty long time. You know, we turned a blind eye. So we heard the noises from next door or from
Yes.
across the road or
Yes.
across the street.
Yes.
And we turned a blind eye for
Yes.
long enough.
Yes, but it's different now because we see now bodies are coming out in
Right.
bags. So it's time for action. It's time for us to hold hands, and it's time for us to, at times, stand up to our friends or our family and say, listen, this is not acceptable.
Most definitely. And who is it? Who are you targeting here? I mean, even as we talk about this initiative, who are we targeting? Is it just the survivors, as you say, not victims, but survivors? Are we targeting the perpetrators or would-be perpetrators? Are we targeting the young men at school who are engaged in school violence? Are we talking about the young women who are we talking about? Because it seems to be, it's coming from everywhere.
Violence is everywhere, and therefore we are targeting everyone. We all have different roles to play based on where we are right now along the continuum. And the thing is, for those who are not perpetrators, it's important for you to know what to do if you see your friend, your neighbor, your family being subject to such violence.
So what do we do? Because, you know, okay, we turned a blind eye for a long period of time, but then do we get involved, I mean, risking our own lives? Because we've seen that as well. So do I jump in and say, hey, leave her alone, don't touch her, don't do that? Do I jump in? Do I jump in and try to say, what do I do? Do I just stand by and say, I'm afraid for my life, so girlfriend, take your beating? What do I do?
Okay, so the thing is, sometimes you may not want to directly intervene, but equipping you with information as to sources you can now contact and alert and request support and assistance, that is very important and very valuable intervention. And so on Friday, what we expect to do is to have representatives from all these support agencies, NGOs, the TTPS, the police service, all right, counselors, to allow them that opportunity to be hands-on with persons in the community, interact, provide information. And so many of the questions that you are asking and other persons would ask, those professionals will be able to shed light and provide guidance and direction.
No,
but it's an effort of not the one, but it's an effort of all.
You know, Lois, we've also seen young girls at secondary schools who have boyfriends who are being abused, physically abused by these boyfriends who are at school. These are, I'm talking 3rd, 4th, 5th formers who have boyfriends in 5th and 6th forms who are being physically abused by these boyfriends.
Yes, yes. And you know, Ria, I always say sometimes, the mirror can be your best friend, and sometimes the mirror can also be your worst enemy. But we have to stand in the mirror, because where did these young boys learn this? Right? So it's a whole, it has to be the rearranging of our headspace, the shifting of our norms, our habits, what is okay, what is not okay. Question, the cat call on the street that makes young girls very uncomfortable at times. Is that okay? Is that violence?
But it was also a part of our culture. So how do we break away from what was a norm, a societal norm? How do we break away from that to say now all of a sudden it's not okay? These are the same, and bear with me here, these are the same issues that we face for Carnival. When it's Carnival Monday and Tuesday and everybody has access to whining on a boomsy and it is free for all, then on Ash Wednesday, bear with me, Lois.
Yes.
On Ash Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, and as we continue on into Lent and to the rest of the year, it does not become, it's no longer okay, but on Carnival Day,
you get the license.
You have the license and the free for all, just to do anything. So when is it acceptable and when is it not acceptable, and then how do we break away from the norms that we grew up with, just now say that it's no longer okay or acceptable?
So that's why we have to talk. That's why we have to sit and we have to bring these things to the table and have honest conversation, because some of our values will have to shift given where we are. But again, you and I can't sit here and come up with the solutions. These are solutions at the village, the community. We have to come together and talk about and set our parameters and our boundaries.
Most definitely. Now, Lois, where is all of this taking place? Remind us of where all of this is taking place.
Okay, it's at Scarborough, between 4 and 6 on Friday p.m. So we'll have quite a bit of a stir in Scarborough. It's along the Esplanade. It will be close in the vicinity of the Port Authority, where that hub is, because we really want to touch as many people. We want people to talk to us. We want feedback, because it's amazing how we've experienced persons quietly coming to speak with us when they're not strong enough to speak elsewhere.
Right.
We have a role for many pillars of the society, and that's why we've engaged faith-based leaders over the past few weeks in conversation. We've engaged young people nationally and invited young people up the Caribbean, and we spoke, and it's amazing the kinds of information, and the opinions and the recommendations that have come. But we have to deal with the monster. It's a monster and it's destroying us.
Definitely, most definitely. Lois, always a pleasure having you on the program. Always a pleasure chatting with you. I think one of our viewers on the live is saying, oh my, I haven't seen Lois Leslie in quite a while. Great. And that's Miriam Scott.
Hi, Miriam.
All right. Definitely. Viewers, thank you for joining us for this segment. We head over now into the good stuff. And in our good stuff this morning, Mr. Orville London was recognized as the 2022 Tobago Icon of the Year by the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, or TUTA. The award was bestowed on Mr. London at a virtual professional development and awards ceremony, which was held on Saturday. Principals and teachers who retired this year were also honored for their sterling contributions to our country's development. Mr. London served as principal of Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive School. It was during his tenure that Merson Bartlett was awarded a national scholarship in business studies. Mr. London was a councillor in the Senate, the longest-serving Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, and the High Commissioner for Trinidad and Tobago to the United Kingdom. Congratulations to you this morning, Mr. Orville London, and he was certainly my principal at Signal Hill. That's before your time. My principal at Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive, okay? Thank you so much. Our pleasure, always our pleasure. So viewers, lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. Okay, now we go over to Candace. Hey Candace, over to you.
Hi, good morning, Rhea, and of course, good morning, Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. And I am here with Miss Anola de Freitas.
Yes.
A special good morning to you.
Thank you so much, Candace.
And if you don't know this beautiful face, she is the owner and founder of Anthea Treasure Troves.
Yes, that's it.
Somebody that specializes in soaps and body lotions and bath bombs and all those nice smelly things to make you look and feel good.
Yes.
So again, a special good morning to you.
Thank you so much, Candace.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about, of course I introduced it a bit, but tell me a little bit more about, what do you do?
All right, so good morning, everyone. Good morning, Candace. A beautiful person to have interviewed you, I must say. So I am Anola de Freitas, the founder of Anthea's Treasure Trove. You see it right there. And Anthea's Treasure Trove is a Tobago-based bath and body company where we formulate skincare products, things that you would use like creams and lotions, body scrubs, body butters, soaps, using ingredients like sorrel, pawpaw, mango, things that are in season, and things that persons enjoy using like basil, French thyme. Based on the benefits of the ingredients, we have a line of skincare products to suit anyone, male, female, children, persons with sensitive skin. So we have something for almost everyone.
And you are somebody who has been in this business for a very long time. In fact, you're probably one of the pioneers for this sort of thing here in Tobago. Before everybody started making their own soaps and so on, it was Anthea's.
But I can't say that because there were people who were there way before me, right? There were some persons that, I look up to them now and I'm like, wow, you're doing it big. So I can't take that credit. I cannot. I've been doing it and I've been consistently doing it. And I do applaud all the other people who are, coming into the area, because it's something that, once you get into it and you like it, the skies are the endless is there endless possibilities involved with this business. Endless.
And I want you to tell me a little bit more about that, in the sense that this is something that you found and you've loved. And what about it have you loved and enjoyed over the time?
Okay, so I want to say first of all that this was not my passion. Just like some people, they may get into a business and it's not that it was something they grew up as a child loving and wanting to do. I actually went away and studied a particular area, came back to Tobago and could not find a job in my field. And for moments I was a bit depressed and sad, but I thank God that He gave me the insight. He said, Anola, use the knowledge that you gained through your studies and apply it and start a business with it. And what I did is that I used the microbiology, biochemistry aspect of it and put that into this that you see here, Anthea's Treasure Trove. So when I started off making soaps. I started off walking around with a basket selling. I started off encountering lots of critics. As you know, sometimes when persons are not familiar, they might give you negative responses.
Yes.
But I thank God for the strong framework of my family that supported me and friends. You know, and here it is today. Here it is today, still pushing, still doing, and still being all that God has created me to be.
And I want you to tell me a little bit about, you being able to even not just sell to people out to Tobago, but market your products outside of Tobago.
Okay, so marketing outside of Tobago, based on the location that we are at Stowaway Beach facility in Crown Point, it gave us, I describe Stowaway as the capital of Tobago because it's so close to the airport. It has the famous crab and dumplings, so a lot of traffic from overseas, you could find them in that location. And with that, it opened the doors to us encountering persons from all over the world. Sometime I was telling somebody, in each continent of the world, you could find Anthea's Treasure Trove. We have customers from all over the world that purchase from us, and we know because we have a directory where we take your name, your contact number, and where you're from, and what you liked about the store. And we've seen persons from so many places. I'm like, wow, look what the Lord has done.
I know,
look
right?
What came out to be a disappointment,
yes.
He turned it around, and I just want to say this, Candice. There might be people out there who are looking and thinking, I'm in a low place and there's nothing that you could do. There's always something that you're good at. And you need people who would encourage you, who would say, you know what, Candice, you can do it. Candice, that is something that is going to add value to somebody's life. And don't keep it to yourself, because what you think is nothing is really something golden. It really is.
Now, we're not just here to talk about bath and body products. So we're here to make some.
Yes.
So, we're going to be making bath bombs.
Yes, we're going to be making bath bombs. We wanted to choose something that was simple, fun, and that Candice could master in like a few minutes. In a few minutes.
Viewers, you're gonna see how well my bath bomb making skills.
Excellent. So we're gonna just jump quickly into it, Candice. So on this side we have the gloves. So if you want to put on your gloves, because you're gonna really get into it this morning. So as she's putting it on, I'm going to just show you some of the stuff. This is the witch hazel we'll be using. This is a bit of witch hazel. This is some turmeric powder. We also have baking soda. So I'm taking it out so you have the container empty. Baking soda, citric acid, her little packing containers, and the extra gloves. Right? So Candice, these have already been measured out for you. So we have 1 portion of baking citric acid to 2 portions of baking soda. So we're just going to empty these into here. You can help me empty. Just open that one there.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, and so you studied microbiology.
Yes.
And tell me, as we're doing this, how did that help with you being able to, come up with the right mixtures and so on?
Well, so that's what I helped to do, like the formulations to test and ensure how long something would have a shelf life for, ensuring my space is very well sanitized, because it's skin, and the skin is the largest organ. So you want to ensure that whatever you put on the skin is safe, it's not loaded with bacteria, and so that your customers are happy, not just for looking at it, but for the benefits that it's going to give you on the skin.
All right.
So you're going to use that, and you're going to knead it in like flour, Candice. You're getting into, so you're seeing Candice for herself making her own bath bomb. Yeah, Candice.
This is a fun, exciting mornings.
It's a fun experience. So if you desire, you can add a bit of the turmeric powder in there just for a bit of color.
Of course. Turmeric is very good for your skin, by the way.
It gives you a nice radiant glow. So you can tell me when to stop.
Well, I mean, I'm just used to using a lot of turmeric. So.
Yeah, so put a little more there for you.
Sure.
Put a little more there. We're going to go wild. It's kind of first time. So we're going all out. So we're going all out. So she kneaded so it's really nice and smooth. So it doesn't have much clumps. So we have that there. And so now what we do, we're adding a little bit of oil. This is an infusion of herbs.
Yes.
It has the bay leaf. It has the cinnamon inside of it.
And this is something that you do yourself.
Yes. So this is going to give it a nice scent. It's going to give you the moisture on the skin, and with the infusion, this one is good for like circulation, for pain relief as well. I could squint it like this, but it might take a little time. So let's just open the bottle and just pour it in there.
Awesome.
I'm telling you. So you're
just keep mixing.
Yeah, you're going to mix it. You know, I think Candace has been doing this home already, you know. Oh my goodness. So we gotta mix it all in.
You know, as you mentioned, the turmeric, that's good for your skin. You know, I mean, I grew up knowing that when you're getting prepared for a Hindu wedding and stuff like that, they always rub down the brides like the days before. Like every day you get rubbed down with a turmeric mixture, and it's supposed to, you know, make your skin look a little bit fairer, a nice glow and everything, because of course you have to look perfect for your wedding day.
And you know, it's so funny you said that, because it's East Indians who suggested that we do this line. And we have been getting so many great results. I don't know if you've seen the color.
Oh my
goodness. Started off with white. You
beautiful
see that?
yellow.
You see? So you're using a natural colorant to make this.
Yes.
So we're going to use the witch hazel to spritz it now to even get it, to give it. Right, so Candice, you got to be mixing. You got to be mixing. I'll be spraying and you'll be mixing. You see this, y'all? I believe Candice has been doing this at home. Oh my goodness.
And of course, this is just encouraging to everybody who is viewing.
Yeah, even for kids at home, because persons have been asking, so what can I do with my kids for the holidays? What can I do? And you could do simple things like this. You know, and at Anthea's we have creative kits that you can make these at home. You can make your own bath bombs at home, your own lip balms at home. We have kits that you could do body butters, body scrubs, make your own soap. So the holidays doesn't have to be boring. This holiday could be fun. So I don't know if you want to smell it, Candice, and see if you like it.
Oh, I'm already smelling it. I'm already smelling that. Oil smells beautiful inside of here.
Right. So hold it together and see if it's clumping together into a nice. Is it? Okay,
sorry, my gloves a little bit.
Yeah, sorry.
That's fine. I have tiny hands.
Let me just put a little more in there, because we want, when we squeeze it in the hands, that it holds together.
Let me see if I can get this in there a little bit more. I'm sorry, folks, I have tiny hands.
she has tiny hands, but she has expert hands, because what she is doing there, I'm doubting it's her first time. So hold it together like this, Candice, and squeeze it. Squeeze it and see if we're getting a nice... Yeah, so it's coming to the way we write. You see how it's forming there?
Yes.
Look at that expert. Y'all, I don't believe it's her first time. So I have these containers lined. It's just a simple way we're going to package this. So you're going to stuff it in there. You're going to be like compressing.
Like cupcake crisp.
Yeah, we're compressing it.
Alright.
So Candice, you could choose when you go home to put this in your foot spa and soak your feet. You could put it in your bath bomb and just lull off yourself. You could use it so many different ways for doing your own manicures. The possibilities are endless. So you want to press it down really tight, and then when you're satisfied, we're going to just cover it.
Okay.
Yeah. And we have here some little, these are rose petals. If you want, you could put one on the top if you desire, or you could just leave it as is.
And that all helps with just the self-care stuff.
And then on this side we have some sprinkles of soap, so if you want to sprinkle on the top of yours, just for giving it that extra look.
Oh, that's...
Do you want me to sprinkle for you? Yes. Okay, so we're gonna have some of these. We're gonna sprinkle it there on the top.
I like the viewers see a little bit.
Yeah, so we're gonna let you see Candice creation.
See how pretty?
And I think that name has a ring to it, Candice Creations. Yeah. Right? So we have that there, and we put a little rose petal there, and then you just cover it down, Candice. That's it. You just cover it down, and depressing it down would also help to compress it a bit. So that, and if you want to fill another one, you can. Yeah, and we could do that really quickly. And you would then just put your little label on it.
Oh, awesome.
And you put your little label on it and you're set. So if you want to fill these quickly, because what would happen is that it's going to get really hard soon.
Okay.
So you're just pressing it in. And I want to show the viewers what happens when you take it out. You continue doing it. Yeah, you seem as though you know what you're doing. So you don't even need to look at this.
She has a lot of confidence in me.
So what is going to happen is when you get home and you take it out and then you put it in your bath water.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Don't worry about that. So what is going to be happening is the scent will be released.
Yes.
The salt will help to be soothing your tired, achy muscles, and you're going to be having a fantastic time. You're going to be having a fantastic time.
Well, viewers, as you see, so for yourself, self-care is really not that hard.
So you could do this at home. You could do it with your kids. If it is you're thinking, okay, Anola, I want you to get all this stuff for me, and we have that option as well. We teach people how to make it using our YouTube channel. If you want to reach out to us here at Anthea's, I don't know if you've seen the number here. It's 868-304-1256.
And of course, you're on social media as well.
On social media, you can check us out on Facebook. You can check us out on Instagram. I also do lots of videos so that you can see how to do stuff. And I just want to say, Candice, just push in the season. Push.
Of course.
Whatever you have in your hand, that's a gift from God for you to go to the world. For you to go to the world. You never know. I'm telling you, Candice Creations and stuff. I like it. This stuff. For those persons who might be looking on this side, you see these salts here?
Yes.
Persons have been ordering them for weddings. So you might have a themed wedding and you're thinking, where am I going to get? We do that. These little ones here for a souvenir. You have the little map of Tobago because it's made with salts from right here in Tobago from the sea. You could get that right here as well. I'm telling you, there's so much awesomeness in Tobago. You might think I'm in Tobago and nobody's going to know me. I remember, Candice, I want to tell you this. In 2010, I received a call from the White House to meet Hillary Clinton to represent women in America because they noticed my business. So I want to tell persons today, you might be doing something you're thinking nobody's taking notice. Up to this day, I don't know who recommended me.
But someone is always watching.
Somebody's always watching. I don't think that I'm in a small place. Man, you're in a place where everybody's seeing you. And at that time, there was no Facebook that I was involved in. So,
yes.
Candice, you do the interview now because I felt as though I engaged you.
Oh, yes, she did. All right, so viewers, I just want to thank you, Anola, for such a wonderful interview and for showing me how easy it is to make your own bath bombs.
Yes.
So, if you want to get involved, if you want to learn, just connect with Anola and just remember Anthea's Treasure Trove. Of course, she's also located at Store Bay, a beach facility, and just behind the just across from where you get the crab and dumpling.
Right? You could always reach out the number and you could get on too.
Yeah. All right, great. So thank you so much, and we'll be right back after the break.
My4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Okay, can you hear me now? Certainly. All right, so my apologies. Viewers, we're chatting this morning, and let me say it again, with Michael Anisette, who is the General Secretary of the National Trade Union Center, about Labor Day activities in Tobago and the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Good morning and welcome to you.
Pleasant morning to you and Tobago. Blessings.
Thank you. Good to have you in Tobago. I know it was almost
my pleasure.
You had to be here. Let's talk a little bit about the Labor Day activities and celebrations in Tobago. We were locked down for 2 years, and then you saw an increase. There was somewhat of an increase, would you say, in terms of the type of support that you saw coming out from Tobago/Trinidad?
Yeah. We definitely, and I want to compliment all the unions and the Guild of Cipriani College, the disability representative, and all those who participated, PSA, Siemens Union, NUGFW, Transport and Industrial Workers Union, Postal Workers Union. We had a cross section of our workers who came out in their numbers, and in terms of Tobago, the crowd was very awesome in our humble view.
All right, so let's ramp things up now. We're looking here at the union's call for PM Rowley's resignation. We've been back and forth with 2%. Unions say no. Then we look at 6%. Was it 6%? 4%. Unions
over
say
6 years.
Over 6 years. Unions still say no, not good enough. Yet you're calling. The Prime Minister says, this is going to cost over $5 billion. Cost the government and I see you laughing here already. Cost the government $5 billion. If it goes over. What is acceptable for the unions?
No, well, it is clear that we are living in a situation where workers have not received wage increases going back as far as 2008. And where we had increases negotiated, the government failed to implement it. And I want to make special mention to that, if I'm allowed, in terms of the Port of Scarborough is involved in it too, where we had negotiated legitimately, where the management and the union sat down, because we are the recognized union and the Port Authority management is recognizing now as the employer, and we negotiated a 12% wage increase for 2014 to 2017 for port workers. Having said that, I want to make the point to the public that the Port Authority do not rely on the government to subsidize their wages. We make sufficient revenues to pay our wages out of our revenues. And therefore, the question is, why it is that the government, since 2015, have refused, to give the instructions to the management to pay port workers their legitimate 12% wage increase. And there's a fundamental issue. And the same thing happened with NIB workers, where there was an agreement, and the Minister of Finance refuses to date to authorize the payment of the 9% wage increase. So then the issue, and I want to make that clear to the general public here, that this question of the Ukraine crisis didn't happen 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, So we are not going to buy into that. And we are also saying that we have witnessed this government spending money with the financiers, the political elites, and the business elites, and they find money. They call it all kinds of nice names, incentives and everything. But when it comes to workers, to pay workers' salary and wages, which is a productive payment. And why I am saying that is because workers spend their money on goods and services, unlike those rich people. All right? And if you fail to give workers that ability to buy the goods and service, that to pay for it rather, in a situation where it is climbing, all right, exponentially every day, what you are doing, you are stagnating workers' ability to survive in their society. And we are saying within the trade union movement, that must not happen in Trinidad and Tobago. The government finds money to pay everything, find money to pay workers if you have to find the money. Because when you pay workers monies based on the income level, you start off with a 25% deduction already in terms of tax and other issues in terms of value-added tax and NIS tax and all. People don't understand that. So we are not going to buy into that narrative that the government is pushing more through the Prime Minister. And one stage he made a threat that if I pay, I will not have to send workers home.
Yes.
Is that the role of a Prime Minister? That is how you talk. Is that the reality? That is not the reality. The issue is the government fiscal policy speaks to downgrading wages, stagnating wages, where we have a situation where people can hardly live. They live from salary to salary, and we say we cannot continue along those lines. And the 4% wage increase over a 6-year period, all right, and the government insensitivity in the context that they fail to recognize that with their proposals, they are telling pensioners who would have worked for this government, who would have left their industry and had a legitimate expectation for increases, you are telling them no increases for them. Is that fair? Because the issue is about fairness, the issue is about social justice, and the issue is that workers in Trinidad are Trinidadians and Tobagonians too. And it's not, and Trinidad and Tobago is for all of us. It's not for a special group of people. That is the issue.
And I hear you loud and clear, and there are those who would say, but over the last 2 years, there was a pandemic that the country, I mean, it hit not only Trinidad and Tobago, but the world hit pretty hard. And there was some maybe unforeseen circumstances. Don't you, what would you say to that in terms of?
What I will say to that, if we were asking for a wage increase, you remember government proposal was for 2% over a 8-year period, you know. So the pandemic wasn't 8 years ago, you know. And people fail to realize that, and you have to ask yourself the question, why it is that the government would have failed to implement the port agreement and NIS, and why it is that this government, who knows that each day they fail to sit down and negotiate with the unions that they will have an increase in cost in terms of back pay and all the other things. It's not the workers. The proposal was submitted on time to the government, and they refused to negotiate.
All right, let's just pause for a course here. We've got Tobago notes that we've got to have Tobago notes at this time, and then we continue our discussion with Mr. Anisette. Over to Tobago notes.
Budget Day in Tobago is approaching. The Division of Finance, Trade and the Economy is pooling key information to allow the THA to detail a comprehensive budget request. That budget is to be presented and debated in the House later this month.
Over the past 3 weeks, we have been meeting with several subgroups to ascertain the needs of each sector within the Tobago economy. We have decided that we will do a series of virtual consultations to allow for greater inclusivity and participation.
The premiere episode of the Make It Make Sense pre-budget consultation program focused on the impact of the budget on women. It explored means to empower women and girls amidst modern economic challenges. Panelist and bank manager Tanil Harilal implores women to seek more innovative ways to become more marketable and self-sufficient.
While it is an important understanding to budget,
it is also a good economic empowerment for women to have better choices. So some of the things that we can probably do and been thinking of is, you know, learn a skill. So while you have the CPEP, you also have other things that you could trade. There was a nice bartering environment we had a few years back, you know, understanding that, okay, we're not going to stay here for the CPEP, but we are doing other things to enhance and develop our living situation.
The second episode focused on the development of the creative sector, also known as the orange economy.
There is an increasing view among Caribbean governments and regional agencies that the creative industries can be an economic, or an engine rather, for economic growth and a mechanism for diversifying economies and improving global competitiveness. On account of this, there is a greater need to understand this trajectory of the creative.
Cultural icon Annette Alfred shares her take on the importance of the development of the creative sector and of the preservation of culture through education.
There was this interaction between schools, or education I should say, and the culture. That seems to be totally absent now. I am not seeing it. So my little grandchildren are suffering from the absence of that kind of training. I could see talent in especially one of them, but where is the opportunity for him? Why doesn't our curriculum respond to the call for us to learn what is ours so that we can make some money out of it?
The Make It Make Sense, a pre-budget consultation series, marries a mix of expert and layman perspectives on possible development with an interactive forum via social media platforms.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Welcome back. We continue our discussion this morning with Mr. Michael Anisette on the issue here of the Labor Day activities and the no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Now, just before we went over to Tobago Notes, I know you were speaking to the issue of the 2%, 4%, and the government being in a position to do better, that the pandemic did not, and the pandemic was a recent factor. Yeah. However, what we're talking about is outstanding increments for a period of time before that.
Remunerations.
Salaries
and wages that workers and pensioners deserve as government employees. And I want to make a fundamental point that people are not paying attention to. Are we aware in Trinidad and Tobago that the private sector, notwithstanding all that we are hearing about recessionary periods, we're hearing about the pandemic, yeah, these things happen, but they were able to pay their employees wage increases over the period of time leading up and going beyond the pandemic. And that's a reality. Now you have to ask yourself the question, if the private sector can pay it, how come that the government is now claiming inability to pay when they would have contributed to the delay in negotiating wages and salaries on behalf of government employees? And I want to make that point. There's a distinction between the government as a government and the responsibility as a government as an employee that is enshrined in the ILO convention as it relates to collective bargaining. And they fail to honor their commitment, and therefore you cannot now put the burden on the workers by asking workers to accept wage increases that does not upgrade their standard of living. That is the issue that we have to discuss.
And for this reason, the unions are calling for the Prime Minister.
Yeah, among several other things. Because it's not the Prime Minister, we are calling on the Rowley-led administration. There's a no vote confidence, because we in the trade union movement, and every worker, if you talk to, they are fed up. They are concerned about the arrogance that has been displayed by this government. They are concerned over the policies of this government to undermine and marginalize the trade union movement, and by extension, the workers of Trinidad and Tobago, the people in the pensioners, the single parents from MTS and all these other companies who have to live from day to day. There are policemen that I'm aware of have to do 2 jobs in order to make ends meet, and they were outside there in the pandemic. And let me talk about the pandemic. Who was outside there? I didn't see the Prime Minister, I didn't see the Minister of Finance. I saw dock workers, I saw nurses, I saw healthcare workers, I saw doctors, I saw MTS workers, PTSC workers. Okay, I saw workers from T&Tech, from WASAP, daily-rated workers cleaning the streets. They faced the pandemic and they were exposed to bringing that COVID-19 pandemic and sickness and carry it home to their children and their wives. That is a reality, and we are not paying attention to that. Other countries would have recognized that and give those workers increases. Okay, I know it have regional health authority workers who are working there on contracts as I speak to you. And you know what is amazing? The nurses that they took on during the pandemic, you know, they want to let them go and bring new people to replace them. Is that a sensitive government? Are they serious about how they treat people as human beings? And the treatment has been inhumane. This government took a decision not to place any workers on any boards where there's no legal requirement to place workers on the board. All other governments would have placed labor representatives, and they have failed to do that. So you will understand when we say we have all the evidence to demonstrate that this government is anti-people and anti, when I say people, working class, the poor, the disadvantaged, not the big boys and them, because we don't want to chill with them, okay? That is clear, and it cannot be denied, because we are compiling a whole levels of issues that will demonstrate that what we are saying is correct. If you can't say you care about people verbally, you must be able to demonstrate it. Walk the walk and talk the talk. Not just talk and demonstrate it tangibly that you really care about people and you judge people, not by what they say. As our African foreparents tell us, you judge them by what they do.
All right, what is the union's call, moving forward here, what is the union's call to public servants? What is the current call?
Well, tomorrow, we want to thank the public servants for coming out in the thousands on the 27th of May. It was one of the biggest expressions of rebellion and concern, because this struggle is about the future for our children. It's what kind of Trinidad and Tobago we want for the majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago. It's not only the wages. I want people to understand that wages is critical, because money dictates everything. If you don't have money, how do you pay your taxes? If you don't have money, how do you pay your rent? If you don't have money, how do you go in the grocery and buy goods and services? If you don't have money, how do you pay your mortgage bill? So, in other words, wages is a fundamental ingredient in the context of economics. And you cannot have economics if you don't have people. And forget about all those big economists from university who I am told is telling government, do not raise the deficit spending. Every country would have gone through that. And America, during the pandemic period, you know what Biden did? He raised the minimum wage because he recognized that in order for the economy to grow, that people must have real wages in their hands, because without that, what happens to the aggregate demand that is required to keep your economy growing? Wages and living wages is a fundamental macroeconomic policy that speaks to consuming the goods and services that is necessary to keep an economy going.
Okay. So what, moving forward, what is the call? What is the call to the public sector?
The call for the public sector is to stay strong, is to stay firm. Because this struggle is a just struggle. This struggle will determine your survival. This struggle will determine whether you can put a proper plate of food on the table for your children, which is your responsibility. This struggle is about whether you'll be able to afford a home or a shelter over your head and your children. This is what this is all about. This is about a better Trinidad and Tobago. And if we cannot, as an organization, if we cannot, as we could work towards building a better Trinidad and Tobago and a better future for me as a worker and my children, what is the purpose of I'm working there for? What is the purpose of being part of this society, right? Is it that our rights stops after we vote for a party? That is the question. And we need to start those kinds of conversation in order for us to move forward as a people and as a society. And we are saying, which is the Joint Trade Union Movement, the NATUC, and I'm fighting. Under the banner Unite to Fight, we are saying enough is enough. Enough is enough. And you must respect workers and pay them what is rightfully their own.
What they are worth. Most definitely. We hear you loud and clear this morning, Mr. Anasat. I want to thank you for being with us this morning. And the discussion continues. We're going to be following that discussion, viewers, to see where things go. And certainly the unions are not letting go of their stance, their policy, their position. All right, they are not letting go. And they're not just fighting for themselves. They're fighting for
a better Trinidad.
That's right, a better Trinidad and Tobago. All right, so thank you again for being on the program with us this morning.
The pleasure is mine and blessings, and we continue to go to our ancestral mothers and fathers and ask them for the guidance and call on our divine master to guide us as we continue this struggle for freedom, justice, social justice, and the right to be respected and the right to have living wages. Thank you, Tobago. I love you, and stay strong, workers. We shall overcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much again, Mr. Michael Anasat, for being on the program with us. So, viewers, we want to thank you. You know, we're going to call it a wrap for today. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the program this morning. Lots more happening. Lots more happening on the coming up this week. Later on this week, tomorrow is Wednesday. We've got the Youth Wednesdays coming up. Youth Wednesday coming up tomorrow. So we want to thank you again for joining us, and we trust that you have a really great day. Remember to stay safe on the roads. Julian Scape, we're missing you. Stay safe on the roads. Remember to wear your mask, sanitize, and socially distance. And we've got GMT coming up, so stay tuned to Tobago Updates, GMT. You don't want to miss it with Candace. So have a great day, and we will see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.
On the microphone, morning. I just want the microphone, morning. Take the mask off your face and look at me face to face. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This world is getting so cold. I wanna keep running like a soldier. Somebody must have touched my soul, 'cause there ain't no stopping to the
For that
soul.
all-in-one shopping experience? Then look no more. Visit Lamb's Best Mart for your grocery items, fruits and vegetables, drinks, home items, stationery, gift items, hampers, shopping gift cards, toiletries, small hardware items, and much more. We provide order and pickup service, even delivery to your door. We are your friendly community supermarket. Check us out today at Lamb's Best Mart, located at 22 Daniel Trace Canby, or visit us on social media at Lamb's Best Mart.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Na 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Wake up with Candace and Denise. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The
energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region. With the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine, I am Candice Jackson. And of course, before we get started, we're going to get into our news in 90 seconds. Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance, Trade, and the Economy, Fali Augustine, is expected to read his first budget statement on Thursday, since being elected into office. The theme of the budget is Greatest Little Island on the Planet. It will include the presentation of a new economic development plan. The budget would also be centered on green policies for Tobago's sustainable development. According to the THA Act of 1996, the THA must present a budget by the end of June annually. The statement is then presented to central government, who then decides how much the THA should be allocated in the next fiscal year. Trade unions across the country are unified in the call for the removal of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley from office. The unions passed a motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister during their labor march. They said under the current PNM-led administration, only a selected few benefited, and Dr. Rowley failed to deliver to the majority. The unions are also unsatisfied with the recent 4% offer from the CPU towards wage increases for the period 2014 to 2022. They propose to continue protest action until they are offered what they consider a fair wage increase. Now, the price of rice is set to increase. Trinidad Parboil Limited advised supermarkets that the price of rainbow rice and old mark rice is set to increase by 5%. Rising costs of freight shipping and increases of fuel sparked the price hike. The company says it is unable to absorb any more pricing.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me.
Due to bring you the latest updates on what's been happening in Tobago, and of course this week we
are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Na 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Wake up with Candace.
advertise with Tobago Updates. Call 284-6597. If you have a small or large business, we can get your information in front of the masses. Reach our rapidly growing viewership on Facebook and YouTube. Promote your brand in Trinidad and the Caribbean through M&E TV Now and Gayel. Yes, we can build unique ads for your business. Call now 284-6597 and advertise with us.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime. If you see or know about a crime, report a crime safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Na 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 na. Good morning, Tobago. Na 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 na. Wake up with Candace and Denasia. Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger.
Welcome to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates, your source for current affairs in Tobago, Trinidad, and the region, with the perfect conversations to complement your morning routine. I am Candace Jackson. But before we get started, let's get into our news in 90 seconds. Chief Secretary and Secretary of Finance, Trade and the Economy, Fali Augustine, is expected to read his first budget statement on Thursday since being elected into office. The theme for the budget is Greatest Little Island on the Planet. It will include the presentation of a new economic development plan. The budget would also be centered on green policies for Tobago's sustainable development. According to the THA Act 40 of 1996, the THA must present a budget by the end of June annually. The statement is presented to central government, who then decides how much the THA should be allocated in the next fiscal year. Trade unions across the country are unified in the call for the removal of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley from office. The unions passed a motion of no confidence in the Prime Minister during their Labor Day march. They said under the current PNM-led administration, only a selected few benefited, and Dr. Rowley failed to deliver on the majority. To the majority, the unions are also unsatisfied with the recent 4% wage increase offer from the CPU for the period 2014 to 2022. They propose to continue protest actions until they are offered what they consider a fair wage increase. Meanwhile, the price of rice is set to increase. Trinidad Parboil Limited advised supermarkets that the price of rainbow rice and old mac rice is set to increase by 5%. Rising costs of freight shipping and increases of fuel sparked the price hike. The company says it is unable to absorb any more price increases and must now transfer that cost onto customers. Globally, the price of rice is increasing and it is also becoming more scarce. Trinidad and Tobago could soon face a rice shortage if the global situation worsens. So, as you see from those news, we have a lot of things happening, and of course, it is a good time because this week we are going to be speaking about the budget. The budget presentation is going to be made on Thursday. So, in light of all these things that are happening within our space, with price increasing and price of pretty much everything increasing, we're interested to see what policies the THA is going to be presenting to Tobago as to how perhaps we can mitigate some of the food price increases that we are experiencing. I mean, whether it is that we invest a bit more in agriculture, and even if we invest more in agriculture, how do we invest? What areas of agriculture do we invest? And how do those policies get implemented? Because there's been lots of good intentions expressed over the years, but of how much fruit do those intentions, bear? So we're also looking forward to that, to see what comes out of our budget presentation on Thursday. But in the meantime, we are going to be speaking with Deputy Political Leader of PDP Trinidad in regards to, the no confidence motion in Prime Minister Dr. Rowley that was passed by the trade unions on Labor Day. So a special good morning to you, Ms. Keza Jackson, and welcome to the Good Morning Tobago show. Well, I just want, first of all, what are your opinions on this no confidence motion that was passed by the trade unions on Labor Day?
Because the working class are the drivers of this economy. And in the absence of this level of disregard and disrespect to these working class citizens, we are in a national crisis. Workers right now are having problems to put food on the table, pay rent, pay mortgage, and it is just right now survival mode. People are having problems to survive. Under the deceitful act of the government, without proper consultation of the working class, we are, listen to me, we are in a bad place.
Change in administration would result in a change in the situation that the country is facing right now. Do you think that a change in the administration, in other words, the unions are calling for Dr. Rowley to be removed? Do you think that someone else at the helm of the government would result in a change in the economic situations that the country is facing right now?
Yes, because our honorable political leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke, he has led the PAC for 12 years successfully. So, and understanding the plights, understanding the cries, understanding the fears of the working class has moved him to move into a heart for governance and a heart for people to really be in that position, to understand, and not only just to say we understand, but also to implement those changes so that we can fuel our economy in the way it should go. So I would say we have a problem with the pilot, change the pilot.
Okay, so what are some of the policies that need to be changed for there to be a better life for all?
Public-private partnership is one that must not be overlooked nationally. We have to pay a lot of emphasis into who are the drivers of our economy. The drivers of the economy are the workers. And if we would put the workers, centralize that and put the workers in the core as they are the foundation, the backbone of our economy, and give them that respect and treat them fairly, then all our policies, not just one, all our policies should surround the working class.
Okay, and then just give me an idea of, you know, what is the PDP Trinidad saying about, you know, the wage offers, the 4%, they move from 2%, the CP moved from 2% to 4%. You know, how are you guys viewing these offers? Can more be given? And do you think that, you know, or do you think that 4% is good enough?
Food prices rising every day, fuel prices rising, taxes on the increase, and what is constant is people's pay. Now, to move from 2 to 4% is like a continuous insult to the working class citizens. Government cannot continue to insult its workers like that. We have to put the workers where they belong. They are, you know, so there's a biblical scripture that talk about the stone that the builder refused become the cornerstone. They are already the cornerstone. The government cannot continue to refuse their requests and their plight.
All right. And now give me an idea what's been happening on the ground. Like, how are people feeling when, I mean, you hear 2% one day, then you hear 4%, and it doesn't seem to be moving up to what they think that should be an ideal offer?
Until the people recognize that there's a total disconnect between the government and the citizens. What is happening? We need to have, there's a total centralization of power. We need to bring the government down to the people. We need the government to understand the fears, to understand the daily living conditions. Because while the government continue to live in luxury, the working class, they are just looking for an opportunity. An opportunity for what? An opportunity to survive.
All right. And do you think that, you know, that change is going to happen? Because, I mean, we've been speaking about, for the past 10 years, there's been lots of disgruntled people in the country as opposed to, you know, the government and policies and decisions made by the government that impacted them. But yet we have not seen that change in government. Do you think that maybe now people are looking forward to, or are going to be making the necessary moves to change the government?
I think now, throughout the past, Trinidad and Tobago have been bipartisan. A division between the red and the yellow. That was consistent. And the people did not have a viable alternative. Now what the PDP presents in Trinidad is a viable opportunity and a viable change. They asked for change, but rather they got exchange. They have been exchanging between government to government. All that change was the colors, but it's the same concept, the same foundation, the same ideology. So with PDP in Trinidad right now, and they would have seen what PDP has done in Tobago and is doing. I mean, it's very early in its embryonic stage. Our dear Fali is doing a great job across there. And we are asking for Trinidad and Tobago to give that level of confidence in the PDP, which we are saying the people are calling on us, and we have a responsibility to the people of our island.
And as you mentioned, Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, is there anything that you're looking forward to in the budget that's coming up on Thursday that would speak to a better relationship between Tobago and Trinidad, that, and, you know, perhaps to help with booster the economy? Is there anything that you're looking forward to at all?
I lost you there again with your audio. Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, as you mentioned, Chief Secretary Fali in your previous statement, we know that the budget is coming up on Thursday, the THA's budget is coming up on Thursday. Is there anything that you are looking forward to that may help, you know, strengthen the relationship between Tobago and Trinidad and ensure that, you know, there is some more room for economic developments?
Strengthening of relationships between Trinidad and Tobago. By and large, it's a strengthening of relationship when Trinidad is accepting a Tobago party. Because PDP started as a Tobago party, and Trinidad has opened the windows and doors for that party in our island. In terms of that relationship that exists between our Chief Secretary, Fali, as well as our Deputy Chief Secretary, Mr. Watson Duke, is a formidable example of a partnership that can permeate even the walls of Trinidad, even the bipartisan of Trinidad. And in that budget reflection, I wouldn't say much. I mean, Thursday is just 2 days away. I would leave that for you to analyze and have another show on Friday.
All right, good. Looking forward to it. I want to thank you so much, Ms. Jackson, for joining us on the Good Morning Tobago show. And viewers, that's all we have for you this morning. Yes, viewers, that's all we have for you this morning. And again, stay safe. Be careful out on the roads. Make sure that, you're not just driving for yourself, but you're driving for the other people as well. So take care of yourself, and we'll see you again in the morning. Bye for now.
Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise. Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong,